There's a chill in the air. It feels like the postseason as we are under the lights here on Saturday night with first place Hofstra visiting Monmouth. Good evening, everyone. We welcome you to Hess Field here in West Long Branch with former three-time All-American Renee Washington. I'm Eddie Acapinti, and we thank you for tuning into our broadcast here this evening. Renee, this is a big matchup. There's postseason implications. They've already met once this season. It's a big game between Hofstra and Monmouth.
It's a massive game. Hofstra on a 6-game winning streak. They haven't lost a game in conference except when they faced Monmouth. And as the only team in the division that actually is locked into the top spot, they're right now looking to just get some revenge against the Hawks. The Hawks, on the other hand, injured. They're on their senior day emotions. They're going to be trying to send their seniors out the right way. And with this being their last game of the regular season, they have to take care of business today because postseason implications absolutely on the table.
Yeah, you said it. There's a big sense of urgency over on that Monmouth sideline. As we take a look at our impact player matchup in this game, a couple of tremendous finishers. We start for the Pride with the leading scorer in the league, Lori Goddard.
Lori Goddard has been tremendous. A couple of games this season of scoring a brace has been fantastic at finding the back of that, including that last game versus Fordham. Leads this team with 9 goals. Look at the size, the fluidity, just the creativity, and the ability to find the back of the net.
When they need a big goal this season, they rely on him. And when Monmouth needs a big goal, they've looked to Jacob Friedman.
Jacob Friedman has 16 points coming into today, the most for any Hawks since 2023 with his 4 goals, 8 assists. They've been relying on a lot of their upperclassmen in terms of leadership, but they need him tremendously to find the back of the net, get their offense going, especially in this must-win game for Monmouth.
Yeah, like you said, this is a huge game for both teams, really, for this Monmouth team as they look to keep alive their postseason hopes. Renee and I will be right back after this timeout. The starting lineups, the opening kick, and a crucial matchup between Hofstra and Monmouth.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long-distance love. For the far-sighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Whoever said that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line never said anything about the quality of the ride. With Coach USA, you can charter a luxury motor coach for all of your special occasions. From your wedding day to corporate events, sightseeing, trips to the casino, sporting events, and concerts. Enjoy free amenities on board, things like Wi-Fi, restrooms, and movies. So to book your charter anywhere in the US or Canada, just contact our sales office today.
Well, even in this era of college athletics with so much player movement around the country, it's still so great to see Senior Day and these upperclassmen that have been in the program for years be honored. You know, Renee, take us back to your Senior Day game, the emotions that you felt as you got ready for that final home game.
It's always a lot of emotion, especially because you know postseason's right around the corner and you want to be able to celebrate, but also getting ready for your team to be hitting stride to make a great run in the postseason.
Hofstra starting 11 for 37th year head coach Richard Nuttall. This team has won 6 in a row. They're tied with Stanford for the longest winning streak in the country. And that's on the heels, by the way, of winning 4 consecutive CAA championships. This Pride dynasty going to be hard to knock off. As you flip things over for 22nd year head coach Rob McCourt in Monmouth. How about 59 combined years of head coaching experiences between our 2 head men this evening? This Monmouth team that, as Renee mentioned, injured coming into play tonight. They're playing for their postseason lives, as next week when the rest of the league plays, they'll be off. So this matchup is huge for them. They've got to try to bank as many points as they can, Renee, before that final matchup next weekend.
And it helps to be at home a chance. You've got a mixture of some freshmen that have been stepping up in a tremendous way, some seniors that are ready to go out the right way, and you can just, in front of your home fans, have a chance to finish your regular season, hopefully, if you're Monmouth victorious.
You just saw Monmouth keeper Herman Johnson as he's starting his 9th consecutive match. It was Otto Musburger who started the first 5 matches of the season in goal for Monmouth. But now in the last 9, it's been the freshman Johnson from Christiania, Norway. He is 2nd in the league in save percentage. He's played well. He's going to be tested early and often from this Pride attacking unit.
Herman Johnson, one of those young pieces that have been tremendous in terms of even the accolades, the saves, the success that we've seen, and really at this stretch of the season, after being named Rookie of the Week and some other honors, playing a little bit older and more veteran-like than his years may show.
What's the cliche, right? You get to this time of the season and everyone, it's easy for us broadcasters to say it who weren't on the field at any time, but to say, well, no one's a freshman anymore. Well, it's still his first go-around in these key matchups, but like you said, he has played well for Rob McCourt's Monmouth team.
We used to always say that as a freshman, you are now a sophomore officially, but the crazy thing is, you're still new to what the postseason stretches. This becomes like a play-in tournament type of a style of you need to win to be in, and so the intensity raises at this stretch of the season.
We're not even 2 minutes into our match. We mentioned how banged up Monmouth was coming into play tonight, and we say all that with now a player down, and one of their talented freshmen in Jesse Bischler has now started 13 matches this season, but he on the ground, on the far sideline, and in a world of hurt after a couple different Hofstra defenders and he were tangled up near that corner. And they'll tend to Bischler, who has played a key role for this Monmouth team, especially in the latter stages of the regular season.
Well, here's the tricky part, as you mentioned, so early into this contest, there's already a lot on the line. We've outlined all of it, but here's another addition into the storyline for Jesse Bischler to be down in a good amount of pain. You hate to see that at any stretch, especially this early in the game, because you've been warming up and preparing and getting yourself hyped up for this contest, and then a lengthy stoppage, and more importantly, to see your teammate down. That's tough.
Over 200 career wins in now 22 years for Rob McCourt here at Monmouth. 6 times has led this Monmouth team into the NCAA tournament across a couple different conferences. And he'll look on, and thankfully for Bischler is up, and well, he's starting to stretch it out a little bit. Looks like he will try to give it a go, but we'll have to exit the match at least momentarily.
That's the other side of this, just in terms of substitutions. You don't want to have an early sub like this, especially for a key player in Bischler. So they'll probably give him a moment to see if he can still go, and I imagine he'll be looking to try to re-enter the contest.
There is Stefano Campisi, graduate student from Milan, Italy, playing in his first season at Hofstra after transferring from Gonzaga. Here's service, punched out by Johnson. And now Monmouth with an attempt to counter.
Well done defensively by the Hawks, and look at them out to the races, getting numbers forward in good positioning.
That is Jason Bottini cutting it back. And a little too aggressive on that left flank for Raul Garcia. It was Garcia who scored the game winner when these two teams met earlier in the season. And a defender who loves to join the attack out of the back line.
You could just see the timing on that transition play. Raul Garcia kept the run going, and that half hesitation for Jason, I think, allowed Raul to go from being in a good onside position to then off.
That's Bischler getting his first touch since re-entering. So Monmouth very happy to see him back in the matchup. Whistle here, and another Hawk down. So as soon as Bischler popped up, just that quickly for Monmouth, sophomore Brendan Tansey down on the ground. Or excuse me, that is Jacob Friedman. It's 11, and a key player for this Monmouth team, as Renee talked about in our open, with the great season that he has.
Yeah, this is one thing you don't want if you're Monmouth, with all the injuries they already are dealing with. You don't want to have every couple of minutes another player down, writhing in pain. Jacob Friedman, as we talked about, the senior, one of their leaders, one of their leading goal scorers. Have to make sure you can keep yourselves healthy, and also it just is good for momentum. You can't have the game continue to have all these whistles and stoppages for an extended time.
Yeah, in a game like this, right, it's a late kickoff, it's a nighttime game. After you've been kind of standing around getting loose all day, Renee, you have to wonder how much time it takes to get into rhythm for these two teams that kind of each want to play the same way, right? They want to possess, they want to be able to build up, but how much of that kind of feeling out period early on in the game could we see?
Yeah, that's always the toughest part about night games. You're waiting all day, eager and really excited to get to play, and then you finally get to, and already we've seen a number of whistles. But keep in mind, Eddie, of course, we know all that's on the line. It's Hofstra wanting redemption. It's Monmouth wanting to make sure they can get 3 points to get one step closer to a playoff position. So much on the line in this contest that you do anticipate the intensity will not only be as we've seen, but probably continue to tick upward a bit.
That is Bischler, who was injured earlier. Going to exit our match just to make sure he's okay. And there you see the second time he'll be tended to by the athletic training staff, not even 4 minutes in. Yeah, we don't want to steal the phrase, but I guess we could say we were waiting all day for Saturday night. Can we do that?
I think Carrie Underwood would allow it.
See in the bottom of your screen, Monmouth's freshman Eric Anborn running on for Bischler, who exited.
That's tough. Bischler tried to stay into the game. Not 100%.
Service here, and there is Johnson, who has a tall task in front of him this evening against this talented Hofstra team that not only throws the league's leading scorer that we talked about in Laurie Goddard at you, but also throws the league's second leading goal scorer at you, Renee, as well, and Daniel Burko.
Yeah, the 6'2 freshman Herman Johnson going to have to continue as he's doing so far, just picking and choosing his moments off the line to be aggressive, punching it out of any sort of situation, because this is a Hofstra team that can absolutely score goals in a number of ways through a number of different threats.
The dynasty in the CAA is this Hofstra Pride team. 4 consecutive championships. Physical play here by Pietro Santi, putting it out of play, knocking over Monmouth's Kevin DeCapua. So it'll be a Monmouth free kick, and not even 5 minutes in. We've had stoppages, we've had players down on the turf already, as this match still looks for some semblance of rhythm in the early goings here in West Long Branch. Here is Bottini, taking it out of the air, struck well.
That was a fantastic look for Bottini. Nicely done. Off this set piece, you look, the first wave goes in to compete for the first one, and Jason Bottini, top of the box, just a quick 2-touch, controlled it perfectly, and you look at that replay again of just how close that was, but the pace that had on it, that could have been trouble if on frame.
You saw Hofstra keeper Gino Cervoni. All he could do was be a bystander there. And the reaction from DeCapua on that replay was, I think what everyone had, ooh, man, that was, I think, closer than anyone realized on this cool evening in West Long Branch.
In this game, you really want to make sure you're taking advantage of your opportunities for both sides, especially Monmouth. Any chance you get forward around the goal, wanting to make sure you're generating dangerous, threatening chances, and then having the composure to try to finish them, or at least get them on frame so you can test this back line for Hofstra.
Throw in, far side of the field for the Pride. It'll be Gabriel Pacheco, the senior from Curitiba, Brazil. Six wins in a row for Hofstra. Along with Stanford, it's the longest winning streak in the nation. Pretty pivotal time of the year to be playing your best soccer. That's what the Pride are doing here in late October.
One could say that's something you pride yourself on, of being able to play your best soccer in the right key moments. But in all seriousness, not only do they win games, but they generate a lot offensively. They're a team who's seen 29 shots, 19 on goal. You know, the amount of shots they're able to create and chances, you have to be able to keep up with them and weather the storm.
And now they'll try to throw numbers forward. Here comes that dangerous Pride attack. Campisi, one-on-one look to that left foot, trying to bend it in. And Hofstra pleading that it was touched by Monmouth, but it will be a goal kick for Herman Johnson.
Yeah, you instantly saw as soon as Stefano Campisi gets this shot off, that Hofstra thought this was going to be a potential deflection for a corner kick. Nothing there, but did do a good job of creating the shots, opening up some space off the dribble for Campisi.
seen each team with a pretty good opportunity so far. The Bottini one was excellent for Monmouth. The Campisi one, the most recent attempt, is one in the air by Hofstra. As this match now searches for some early rhythm between these two teams that met way back earlier this season on September the 20th. It was a 1-0 Monmouth win, as we talked about in our open, with Raul Garcia supplying the goal. It's Hofstra's last loss.
And I'm sure they still remember it like it was yesterday, especially with it being the lone loss in conference play. That's Monmouth was the only one that could put a blemish on their record.
Monmouth trying to look for that connecting pass. Pride defense that's difficult to solve. They do everything well. They score goals well. They don't allow many, under a goal a match. But a free kick coming here with just under 37 minutes remaining in the first half.
And this is something very important, especially set pieces. A chance to get numbers forward, set something up, get your better playmakers into a good dangerous space on the receiving end of it. So Monmouth originally was going to consider trying to play quickly, but instead elected to just take their time and set something up.
As now they'll look into the box, headed away. Garcia will elect to play it out wide. Sean Cadigan. Now Bottini, as Monmouth will look to switch the point of attack.
You like what you're seeing from Monmouth here, just being patient, not forcing it. You want to make Hofstra chase.
A near miscue here. See if Monmouth can take advantage with Bottini. Combining with Garcia. Look to that far post, and it's grabbed out of the air by Cervoni.
That's unfortunate. So far, Cervoni hasn't seen anything on frame that's been dangerous. Of course, we had that incredible chance by Bottini. You have to test him. You have to make sure you're not only making Hofstra chase and defend you, but then making them hold their breath a bit with some dangerous looks. The one by Bottini is a good start. You have to keep that going if you're Monmouth.
Ten minutes gone by. Mentioned that last Hofstra loss to this Monmouth team back on September the 20th. Since then, been with another whistle here in a pretty dangerous area of the field. But it's been a Pride team that couldn't be playing better. In those 6 wins in a row, they've outscored their opponents 14-5. As Renee outlined, they do a little bit of everything well, and it's what makes them a difficult side to contend with.
Well, then on top of that, we see the foul just outside the 18. You take a look at this play again. You like the intensity of competing here to defend, but you've got to be smarter. That's Eric Anborn, who actually came in earlier with the injury, but this is a scoring position that you set up Hofstra for.
The wall built right in the middle of that 18. 3 different Pride players there, and the wall does its job initially. Put away again. And you hear the cheers from the Monmouth side after that defensive play, and a good job and a good organization.
Nicely done. It's Lori Goddard, of course, that takes that first free kick. And then Monmouth just getting everybody behind the ball, defending by committee to ensure that one's out of a dangerous position.
Hofstra will throw it in on that far side. Yeah, Goddard will get those goals in the run of play. Free kicks, he's equal opportunity. He'll make sure that he can get his goals in a variety of ways. We mentioned the winning streak that Hofstra's on Goddard's solid play goes right in line with that. His last 4 games, he has been fantastic. 3 goals, 4 assists, in excellent form here at the latter stages of the regular season. Possession pretty split, I'd say, so far, Renee. It looks like Hofstra these last few minutes getting a little bit more comfortable in possession. I feel like those first few minutes, like you mentioned, where Monmouth was, I think, trying to take that attack to the Pride. I feel like as things have settled down a little bit, we've seen Hofstra get a little bit more intentional on the ball.
They are. They do a great job. You see already in the opening minutes of this game, just stretching the field and switching the point of attack. They're really doing a good job of making Monmouth have to chase them, which is why I was stressing the Hawks have to return the favor, so to speak, and bring that same possession to them. But they are a team that has the creativity, you see, just the runs off the ball to generate options as they're building up the field. This is what you want to see from Monmouth, getting some possession of their own. Teams that are very offensive-minded don't like to defend. Big surprise there. I don't know if anybody really likes to, but especially teams that are used to scoring goals and having their way, so to speak, offensively. So this is really good for Monmouth. Just keep it. Make them work. Make them chase. Keep shifting them. But no turnovers. That can be costly.
I think we can comfortably say, with how intensely this match has been played, and these first 15 minutes, I think, between the physicality of it, you know, Renee, it feels like a game, I think, where both teams realize the sense of urgency. We knew what it would be for Monmouth, right? They need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, but I've been impressed with it from Hofstra, a side that, like you mentioned, they're in the postseason. They know they're playing beyond the regular season, but don't tell them that. They have been incredibly aggressive early on.
And the key is for them, even though they're locked into that top spot, you don't want to break this winning streak now. You want to continue getting better with each game so that you're heading into the postseason playing your best soccer. You don't want any letdowns.
Campisi step over move, and that was a beautiful delivery. And that's Hofstra's best chance so far in the first half.
That was a good opportunity for Hofstra. Nicely done, just getting down that right flank. Look, they've got numbers in the box in dangerous areas. Campisi serves it in. And then you have to think for Daniel Burko, you want that one back to see if he can control it on net.
There is Hofstra associate head coach Stephen Roach. He is the head man for the Pride this evening. 37th year head coach Richard Nuttall serving a 1-game suspension. He was issued a red card in their previous game, so he's not on the sideline tonight, probably watching, so best of luck moving forward, Coach. But as Stephen Roach operates on the sideline, not only is he in his 10th season at Hofstra, he is the associate head coach, the head coach in waiting as well, an instrumental part of the Pride success. Is he on the other sideline this evening?
Well, as we talked about and have been hitting on with Hofstra, this is the time to kind of iron out those last kinks and make sure if there's any loose ends in terms of disconnects or anything, that you have them figured out. This game, their next game, that's essentially you're playing in a good position, that you are locked in and now focus on making sure you're healthy, playing strong soccer, heading into the playoffs. So as we talk about, although they are locked in the top spot, still a lot they're playing for.
Yeah, is there, you know, Renee, as that kind of juxtaposition between just keeping your foot on the gas and going as hard as you can while also having an eye towards the postseason, as a player, do you even know that, or you just know one way to go and it's full speed when you're out on the field?
You just know that you're going to try to beat your opponent every time you step between the lines, regardless what the contingencies are. You're just focused on winning. So to your point, that is correct. That's for us to focus on of all the things that come after this. It's one game at a time, all the cliches about just focusing on the opponent before you, not thinking too much ahead. But the reality is for the coaches, that's especially their role to ensure the team is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that's for us to worry
Yes.
about up here in the booth. Here's Bottini again, low drive, and that was deflected by the sliding defense from Hofstra's Alexei Armas. It'll be Monmouth's first corner in the first half.
And again, it's Bottini with a good strike from top of the box. This time you could clearly hear the deflection off of Jason Bottini's shot to set up for this corner kick. Another set piece opportunity that can typically be the difference in a close game.
Service, one in the air initially, but a foul.
That's unfortunate for Monmouth. You don't want to foul there. Keep that alive. See if you can get something out of it, because we are still looking for that first great on-goal shot from the Hawks.
There's the senior from Elmont, New York, Gino Cervoni. Second in the league in goals against average, allowing about 0.8 is always a fun number to say, but less than a goal per game. Has been at his best as well. You know, he's an experienced back line in front of him, but when called upon, has been really good this season for Hofstra. How can you not, right? When your team's record is 10-4 and you're playing as well as the Pride are.
That's several clean sheets for Cervoni in this back line. You can hang your hat on that. It just gives you a lot, to be honest, as an attacker, when you know you have a back unit that is consistently able to get stops, consistently able to get shutouts. It almost gives you as an attacker that much more confidence to just go out. If they do their part, you'll do your part, and you'll walk away victorious.
Here's Patrick Osiecki for Monmouth, one of the veterans on a very young Monmouth team. You can see the Hofstra doesn't allow a whole lot of open field after that first touch. They really collapse around, and there you see it again.
It is hard to find those penetrating passes for Monmouth. They've been working a lot along their back line, trying to find their midfielders and definitely trying to find their forwards to break through and get up the field.
That whistle will draw, a red. A straight red card will be issued to Monmouth with 25-16 remaining in the first half. The foul was on Tengil Orison from Hofstra. He was the player who was fouled. And here comes the straight red issued to Monmouth's Jason Bottini, one of their key players in a huge pivotal moment in this match.
Well, keep in mind, this is the last game of the regular season for Monmouth. You now have a red card for Jason Bottini, so do with that what you may moving forward for any playoff games if they do get in. But also, I'm actually very surprised by that immediate red card, more importantly. Now, there may have been something that we missed, but typically an immediate red is for something far more egregious than just a foul.
Bit of a stunning development about 20 minutes into our match. Monmouth will be without its talented sophomore, Jason Bottini, one of their leading scorers after that challenge that you just saw. And like Renee said, the potential ramifications of that moving forward if Monmouth's able to advance past the regular season.
Well, the other reality is in a game like this, you don't want to give up any easy chances or make the game any easier for your opponent. Already with so much on the line for Monmouth, you want to be as healthy as possible to battle this out between the lines against Hofstra, and including making sure you have 11 guys on the field and your best 11 guys. So that's a big hit for Monmouth. That red card has happened, but you imagine there's much more than just that foul. That something else must have been said for that to be a red card.
Yeah, Renee, like you said, more to it than just the physical challenge on that play. And now Monmouth, with all of the adversity stacked against them that we've highlighted. Now we'll play down a man for the remainder of the match.
Just made this important game for Monmouth just become that much more of a challenge. It's not impossible. I've seen stranger things happen, but in the 25-minute mark to have a red card issued, that's a massive game-changing play.
Yeah, that is a lot of game time for Monmouth to play down a player. Here's service. One in the air and controlled on the second by Goddard, who then's able to clear things.
Now for the Hawks, their strategy changes a little bit than everything you've been discussing in film and in the pregame team talks, because you are 10v11 offensively as well as defensively, that you have to be a bit smarter in how you're going through the remainder of this game. Interested to see what adjustments or changes they do make without Bodini out there.
Yeah, it's not just, it's kind of a twofold thing. It's not just being down a player, but being down one of, if not your best 1v1 attacking player, and the sophomore Bottini from Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. Hofstra will go to its bench first time. Pablo Hempelman Perez will check in for Alexei Armas. But what's the adage, right? Now it's which player on that Monmouth side of now 10 will step up in this important match.
Well, as if we didn't already have enough storylines on this senior night, end of the regular season battle. Add another one to the list, Eddie, because I was not expecting that on my bingo card on this Saturday night.
Yeah, didn't have that one and all the preparation in getting ready. But like we saw in the replay, more to it than just what happened in that exchange and in that challenge.
Definitely the other part of that for the officials, especially, this is the time of year you're playing a team for the second time. There's a lot that we've already outlined that's on the line. You do get games that tend to be a bit more physical. And so for the officials, maybe also in addition to that, just they're managing this game as best they can.
And that one dangerous. Johnson able to take care of it. But with each touch, it got more and more dangerous for Hofstra before Herman Johnson was able to solve it.
Well, we've seen Herman Johnson with the ball in his gloves a few times the last couple of possessions. And this is the direct result of that red card that we're seeing right now. Hofstra getting forward more often. Feels like they're knocking on the door a bit, so Monmouth needing an answer quickly.
Well, here's a free run for Goddard. Teammates joining him. Hempelman Perez lifting it. That was Owen Barnett, one touch. And a whistle here with 20:45 to go in the first half. You know, Renee, the point that you just brought up I think is a really interesting one, and one that is unique to the CAA. You mentioned it's their second meeting this season, with the CAA this year splitting into a North and South division, really because of the geography of the league. It's made these divisional matchups. You play each team in your division twice. There is one crossover with a few different opponents from the other division. But that wrinkle, like you said, adds even more intensity to a matchup like this.
Yeah, the reality is you never like anybody in your conference to begin with. And now having to play each other twice in the regular season, potentially you could be facing them again at a later time. It just makes it so much harder that you're facing against someone that you've gotten into a lot of tackles and 50-50 battles with.
Friedman trying to spring a teammate forward. Good skill from Raul Garcia.
Well done by Monmouth, just continuing to play quickly.
Yeah, tactically, it presents so many challenges being down a player. Whistle right in front of us. Monmouth will get a free kick to get started. See Monmouth's Patrick Osiecki, Raul Garcia in your shot. Freshman Damian Tarasca in the background as well. He's On that back line, when you're down a player, that back line, just, do you feel more of that pressure back there? You have to.
Without a doubt, because now Hofstra can send an extra man into double teams and things like that. You're also chasing a bit more, so you're letting your forward typically do all the work to chase up top and sacrificing that up top, but it still wears all the way through on everyone on the pitch for being 10v11.
Now Taraska trying to thread two different defenders. Trying to spring forward Burko, met by Cadigan before that. It was Santi.
It's been a bit of back and forth, knocking it long, playing more direct. I think now the pride's starting to settle into some sort of possession and shape.
Hempelman Perez looking for service. Johnson pokes it away. Javi Losa will give chase for Monmouth. Good hustle from Campisi, but the Monmouth throw in front of their own bench.
Great hustle, and look again back at this play. Ball served into the box, and yet again you see the pink outstretched. Herman Johnson continues to be aggressive off his line, punches it away. Such an X factor, especially being down a player when you have your keeper that has the confidence to step in and clear out those services into the box.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna ask, having never been obviously a college keeper, I wonder if when you're down a player, do you have to get that much more aggressive in goal knowing that you're down a man, maybe to prevent that back line from being stressed even more?
Yeah, I cannot speak on the side of a keeper because I don't know how they do it, but as a player, a field player in general, absolutely. And it's tough because you have to pick and choose your moments. This is where you have to be smart about when you're stepping all throughout, especially with your keeper.
It's good service delivered from Campisi, as Garcia will clear it away.
Sometimes that's what you need to do. Garcia just knocks that forward, allows Monmouth to get their shape, get their line higher, organize. And you can see even on your screen, it's just Jacob Friedman at the top. Everybody else kind of dropped in behind the ball, getting compact to try to shrink the field.
A touch for Sam Francoux, freshman from Australia. Now Santi. Campisi's done a lot of work down that right flank. Barnett popping it up, and there is what's been a pretty reliable young player in Herman Johnson.
Well, I imagine we're going to see Hofstra continue to mix it up a little bit more. A lot of services into the box, especially aerial services from wide positioning, gives Herman Johnson at 6'2", someone who's confident off his line, the opportunity to continue to clean them up. So wanting, if you're Hofstra, to have a bit more savvy, dynamic attack to break down what's a very packed back line for Monmouth with 6 or 7 guys top of the box.
That long goal kick from Johnson. It was excellent work by the junior Javi Losa for Monmouth before ultimately losing it out of play. A touch here, and Monmouth will look to make the most of this opportunity about 30 minutes into our first half.
This is when it's very key that everyone has to move even more off the ball. You are a player down. You've got to find some wide pockets to expose, to get forward, and also to just be able to keep possession. You don't want to keep giving it away, and now you're chasing and defending again.
That red card that was issued to Bottini, the reason why Monmouth playing with 10. You know, the season that Johnson's had, and this is just his 9th start of the year, 2nd in the league in both save percentage and saves per game. That's good enough, but when you factor in the season that Elon's Jackson Levitt is having in goal, I mean, he's just simply having one of the best seasons a CAA keeper's ever had. I think it makes what Johnson's done and his good work continues here even all the more impressive.
I always say it's tough because for goalies to have a very strong amount of saves means you're also seeing a lot of shots. Now, of course, the goals against average and any of the percentages are what you really want to look at, but you don't want to have to see double-digit shots or anything like that or have a high number of saves because that means your team's giving up a lot of chances. But look at this chance that we just had moments ago. Near post, and again, it's Herman Johnson on it. Cuts down the angle. He's all over. Just really doing a good job anticipating Hofstra's chances.
Chance for Monmouth here with Friedman. See him just weaving in and out of 4 different Hofstra defenders. There's Taraska. Anborn getting a touch now. His team's knocking it around. They're waiting for something to settle in here, and it finally does in the form of Francoux.
Samuel Francoux finally settling things down. It does feel like Hofstra's doing a tremendous job of just smothering Monmouth. Anytime they win the ball, there's blue jerseys all around them, making it difficult for them to even control possession for sustained periods of time.
Barnett wearing that captain's armband. Service forward. Was looking for Burko. It's still in play. Everyone was just waiting for it to go out of play. Lifted. 2 Pride players there. And a corner coming for Hofstra, who continues its pressure.
And what a disjointed play that was. You have to stay locked in a game like this. You cannot have any shutoffs. Hofstra on the attack. This chance comes from just a miscommunication, thinking the play was over, and Hofstra continues to play it through, and it's Orison on the back post that gets the final one.
Well, now there's some question on the field. Is it a goal kick? Is it a corner? And what we do have is Monmouth's Cam Lawrence down on the field. 12:31 remaining in the first half. They will stop the clock. Orison has exited for Hofstra. And in is Czech junior Aaron Bozanov. I think the final ruling, even though I thought it was going to be a corner, and most of the, I think, players, at least the Hofstra players did too, it looks to be a goal kick.
Yeah, some confusion on that one. That was a very odd play altogether, where some players stopped thinking the ball was in an out of bounds maybe position, or the play was over.
This has been one of the weirder first halves of a game that I've broadcast this season.
It has been. You take a look at this one again, just serviced across the box. It does kind of look like it hits off the back of Raul Garcia there.
You know, I don't think it hits Orison on that little arm swing, but it, you know, gave the illusion that it might, and if you sell your case good enough, you have a shot. 2 players down, play on. Now there is at least a Hofstra player still down.
But he's holding his head, and I'm actually surprised the official didn't stop play sooner. That high kick was to the head, and immediately he's grabbing his face and head, and typically officials are supposed to err on the side of caution anytime it's anything around the neck or head.
A yellow card will be issued. Multiple bookings in this first half. Good to see Pablo Hempelman Perez, the senior from Toronto, up and okay.
This is what we anticipated from this contest, as we're getting a yellow card. Eric Anborn, that picks up the yellow, was involved in that last sequence. So a red card already for Monmouth, and then Anborn sitting on a yellow.
Left-footed service from Kevin DeCapua, headed away. Garcia back over to DeCapua. Will try to go one-on-one, never makes it to the keeper. But it does go out of play, and a corner coming for Monmouth with less than 12 minutes remaining in a disjointed, weird first half that is still scoreless.
Go to the right, go.
It's a play that gives you some hope, getting another corner. We saw the first one they weren't able to capitalize on with a foul called. See if they can do a better job of executing on this corner kick with Friedman on the ball.
Far post service, and it will result in another corner. Cervoni pleading his case. I think he was saying that the Monmouth player who had the first touch was already out of play. But now Monmouth will flip the field, and another corner coming up.
It's been so close for both teams, especially for the officials. I give them credit. So closely contended with everything. But every play, every whistle is very important to make sure that they're getting it right. It can drastically change the game.
Losa will play it on the ground. Garcia trying to thread the needle. That somehow made it through that sea of bodies in front of the goal for a goal kick for Cervoni.
That took a pretty weird hop. Didn't seem like it had much mustard on it, yet somehow ended up out of bounds for a goal kick.
Yeah, it took a bounce like we're playing on grass. And
it did.
The surface here at Hess Field is that field turf. Well, since that initial 5 or 6 minutes after the red card where Hofstra was dominating, Monmouth down a player, has possessed well, and here they go. Trying to get numbers forward. DeCapua has it knocked away. And Hofstra does well to recover defensively.
Monmouth definitely rallying. You can see the eye test doesn't make this look like an 11v10 game whatsoever. Doing a good job of staying organized and then getting forward when they do win it. A big part of that, honestly, is Herman Johnson just continuing to be off his line. It simplifies the game for them defensively that he's able to come off his line, save it, and send them the other way.
You know, as you were making that point, the first thing I thought of, how much confidence is Monmouth gaining the more this game wears on, that they're playing even with Hofstra and not allowing a multitude of chances.
Reality is they could have just been so focused and upset with the red card that it spiraled from there, but instead they had a couple minutes of a drop-off, then reset, and to your point, there's still so much on the line. It doesn't change anything. Their standings are where they still are. They need to win this game, so they have to find a way to grind out 3 points.
Yeah, that weird scheduling quirk where this is Monmouth's last game of the season. Now Hofstra will move on. The league finishes up next weekend, but for Monmouth it ends today. So any chance they have at the postseason, this matchup paramount to those chances. It's headed away. You know, we said one of the hardest things to do in the CAA this year has been score on Elon's Jackson Levitt. Well, the Campbell Camels have done just that. And on the southern side of the CAA, they lead the Phoenix 1-0. Barnett's shot blocked. Monmouth rallying defensively. Barnett looking to help create room for his teammates. Now Jevitz. Which Pride player wants to take the shot is what we have here on this possession. Pacheco. Sean Cadigan for Monmouth making a stand defensively. Hofstra just waiting for an opportunity, it feels like. Barnett trying to spread it around. Run coming here from Jan Jevitz. And you could hear the reaction to Monmouth after that defensive stand.
That was textbook clinical defending. That's something that coaches can take to their team and show this is how you defend. Just cutting down the seams, any passing lanes, staying tight as a unit, making it difficult for Hofstra to find any penetrating passes and forcing them around to have to go backwards instead, and just forcing that turnover at the end to close it out. Beautifully done defensively by Monmouth.
Down a player. Have really, as this half has wore on, you've seen the confidence and the energy from that Monmouth side really come to this level now with under 7 minutes to go in a scoreless first half.
To your point, the longer this game remains scoreless, it should absolutely give either of these two teams more hope in life. For Monmouth, you just look at the game in increments. Instead of worrying about winning a 90-minute period, it's okay, let's close out this half and then try to win the next 45.
Yeah, at this point, right, Monmouth is trying to get to halftime scoreless. That's their goal.
Absolutely. Then you can get into the break, game plan some more.
Campese lifting it right into the pink jersey of Herman Johnson, who has been everywhere for Monmouth defensively.
Herman Johnson looked like he grabbed that right off of the head of Janjevich, I believe it was. Does a great job, again, just being everywhere. That's a nice service in as well for Hofstra, just to play that one into a dangerous area back of the 6. Campese's been really good with his services.
Johnson won't get credit for a stat on that play, but if you're watching this first half, you can just feel how impactful he's been. The Bottini red card, the reason Monmouth is playing with 10. Coming up on the 5-minute mark in the first half. Ping-ponged around, still Pride possession. Here is Santi. Forward to Campese, who's been great in this half. Hofstra starting to find some room. Good defense from Cam Lawrence, but it'll be another corner for the Pride.
And again, you just saw there Monmouth doing a good job of bunkering down, getting compact. Cam Lawrence 1v1 defending. Sets up for this corner kick. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get that out of a corner kick position.
Barnett. Couple of touches here. Hofstra looking for a chance. Monmouth trying to continue being scrappy defensively. And it'll be chased by Francoux. Headed away on the first chance. Second ball for Hofstra. Barnett will try on a deflection.
That's right, for Hofstra, they have those quick options. You have to feed them sooner because you don't want to give Monmouth time to get organized and get their shape. It might be that quick one-touch setup pass to allow someone else to get the shot on frame. It's just a bit quicker if you're the Pride around the goal.
Yeah, you can feel that momentum here on this service. It's on the side of Hofstra, but you could just feel this match kind of in the balance right now. Like Renee mentioned, Monmouth trying to get to the break, scoreless. Hofstra looking for a breakthrough. Gabrielle Pacheco. And it'll be another corner coming for Hofstra, really starting to pile on here towards the latter stages of the first.
That's the key. It's just so relentless. Hofstra's not letting Monmouth catch their breath for a second. Every time they look, they're defending a corner, a service, an attack. They're winning it. It's going right back to Hofstra, and they're on the defense again.
Yeah, that pressure really starting to ramp up with 2:30 remaining. And a bit of a reprieve here for Monmouth on the whistle. See Johnson, very emotional, vocal, coming out to take this goal kick. You don't have to let him know the importance of this match.
Definitely could see Johnson fired up, barking some instructions, I believe to his teammates he was, or whoever he was speaking with. That's contagious though. That runs through the entire team when you have players that are encouraging you and urging you to step up a bit, especially with how much Monmouth has been defending in this latter stretch of the half.
Nearing 90 seconds remaining in a first half that has seen Monmouth play the majority of it with 10 players. Hofstra looking for that initial goal. I mean, you can just feel the pressure mounting every time Hofstra gets into an attacking area. Service here too far, and Johnson's been moving at hyper speed all half. Probably will slow things down here with 65 seconds to go before halftime.
Yeah, I imagine this is the time. Milk some of this clock. See if you can run it into the break. Take your time, get numbers higher, because they've definitely been under a lot of pressure, and you're, as Monmouth, just happy to get through with this one scoreless, to get to the drawing board and make some tweaks.
One in the air by the Pride, who have really had the lion's share of the possession the last 5 minutes of this half, and keeping the pressure on Monmouth defensively.
Good amount of time left, though, for Hofstra. Of course, it's ticking. It is moving fast to see if they can get that one final chance.
Santi trying to thread the needle. Garcia stepping in front with 13 seconds. And he'll just put it down the sideline and will do the job that Monmouth intended. Playing with just 10 men for the majority of the first half. Monmouth in desperation mode, looking for an opportunity at the postseason. Gets this match to halftime scoreless against the #1 team in the CAA North Division, the Hofstra Pride. We have reached halftime. Don't go anywhere. We got a great one here in West Long Branch. Well, an emotional first half here in West Long Branch, scoreless, but with all the implications and all of the playoff potentialities in front of us. First place Hofstra and Monmouth, scoreless. Eddie Occupanti, Renee Washington, your broadcast crew. Andrew Kurtz, our producer here. You know, Renee, there's finals around the league. That other game currently going on concurrently with ours, featuring the top team in the Southern Division. But a big win for Stony Brook earlier today. You know, the whole North Division is still alive outside of Hofstra. Everyone looking for those two remaining playoff spots.
That's a huge win for Stony Brook, not only with a 3-0 score, but to move them up the standings, especially with so much on the line, because we know Monmouth came into today sitting at that second spot.
And these are the up-to-the-minute standings after that Stony Brook win. Monmouth, the only team on this graphic not playing next week, so they really need, even though they're down to 10 men, they need to bank a 3-point result here tonight to really solidify their opportunity. Going to be tough now for the next 45. It's going to be a purely emotional soccer for Rob McCourt's team.
Yeah, this is all you can ask for the conference standpoint, that everything comes down to the final week. Everybody's still jostling for positioning, but you're going to need to win and get some help to make sure you're in.
And that is that Southern Division. That's why that Elon Campbell matchup's so interesting, that the Camels have jumped in front of the best defense in the league in the Phoenix, 1-0. That's a pivotal matchup.
And again, for the CAA South, most teams outside of William & Mary still in position to see if they can keep something alive in the final 2 games, but it's great to see that 1-2 matchup get to play on the field of who's in that top spot for the division.
The top 3 teams in both the North and the South will advance into the soccer postseason. 3 goes to 2, and then they will go to the 1 seed on each side, and then we'll come together, North versus South, in the CAA championship at the end of the season. But Renee, like you said, with the exception of 1 team, everyone's still playing for playoff spots.
That's the beautiful thing, that you're nearing Halloween and there's still playoff opportunities on the line. It makes every game that much more meaningful because you have extra to play for.
That is the North bracket. We know that Hofstra is the #1 seed in the North. The 4-time defending champions are sitting there just waiting to find out who they'll face November the 9th on Long Island. It'll be some combination of Stony Brook or Monmouth or Drexel or Northeastern. We don't know. The one thing we do know is that each game has so much importance the rest of the way. We'll continue along here at halftime. Don't go anywhere as we're scoreless in West Long Branch.
As an official sponsor of the NFL, Jersey Mike's wants you, Eli Manning, to be our new spokesperson.
I'm in. I love Jersey Mike's.
Hold on. Jersey Mike's new spokesperson? You're stealing my job.
I don't want to steal anything.
Lies. Eli's.
I just love these subs.
You'll be hearing from my lawyer. He's very prompt.
Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Hey, that's my line. A sub above.
This is the CAA on FloCollege.
Yo soy Raúl García, juego de lateral izquierdo, llevo el número 2 y juego para los Men's Soccer Hawks.
Yo soy Javier Losa, llevo el número 8, juego de medio centro y juego para el Men's Soccer Hawks.
Bueno, nosotros venimos los dos de hecho de una universidad en Chicago, entonces no ha sido tanto el cambio como cuando vinimos desde España, pero bueno, la verdad que ha sido muy fácil adaptarse de hecho porque te ponen todas las facilidades aquí en Monmouth y todo lo que necesitamos están bastante al tanto y la verdad que una experiencia muy buena.
Nada, pues un poco lo que ha dicho mi compañero. Gracias a la gente que hay aquí, y a los entrenadores y todo, te ayudan mucho con el proceso y el hecho de que ya conocía a Raúl y a otros del equipo me ha sido más fácil la llegada aquí.
Bueno, nosotros dos es que nos conocemos desde hace 2 años y 2 meses. La verdad que yo no conocía a Javi de nada antes de venir a Estados Unidos, pero tuvimos la suerte de llegar al mismo equipo en Chicago y a la misma universidad y hemos tenido la mayor suerte aún de venir juntos aquí y la verdad que poco a poco ha habido una relación muy buena y ahora mismo la verdad que lo considero un hermano.
Nada, lo mismo. O sea, de no conocernos de nada a empezar la etapa en Estados Unidos juntos y seguirla juntos y quizá acabarla juntos también. O sea, no se puede pedir más para algo que tener en esta etapa. Entonces, muy agradecido con él y nada, un hermano. O sea, muy buena oportunidad, sobre todo para nuestras familias, que lo pueden ver desde casa y al final entenderlo todo. Y también se van a sentir mucho más conectadas con la universidad, yo creo. Y nada, la verdad es que es una oportunidad bastante buena y que nos va a ayudar mucho a nosotros y a nuestras familias.
La misma línea, van a sentirse más en casa y al final van a estar escuchando el partido, van a estar más metidos en el partido solo porque al final estás escuchando tu idioma y van a recordar este partido como posiblemente un momento importante, que al final su hijo está en una universidad en Estados Unidos y lo están retransmitiendo con su idioma, en español, así que muy bonito.
No, sería espectacular. También un poco recuerda cuando jugábamos en España, pues un poco igual. Entonces se sentiría muy especial y sobre todo sabiendo que tu familia lo está viendo y lo está entendiendo por completo y está viviendo esa experiencia, sería espectacular.
La verdad que yo, por ejemplo, he jugado en muy buenos equipos en España, pero no he tenido la oportunidad de que a lo mejor se retransmita como aquí. Creo que aquí se lleva mucho más profesional el tema de retransmitir los partidos y la verdad que posiblemente sea la primera vez que oirían cómo retransmiten un gol en español mío y sería muy bonito, la verdad.
No, se siente muy especial saber que estás en una universidad que eso, intenta reinventarse y hacer cosas nuevas, pues te ayuda también, te hace sentirte importante y te ayuda también a reinventarte tú mismo. Y nada, la verdad es que está bastante bien.
La verdad es un privilegio porque de todos los idiomas que hay, que elijan español, sí que es verdad que muchas partes de Estados Unidos hablan español, pero la verdad que es una oportunidad muy buena y agradecido a la universidad de que haga esto para la gente de habla hispana.
Live look in the Parton Broadcasting Center here at Monmouth. That's the home of the Monmouth Digital Network, producing our game tonight with Hofstra and Monmouth scoreless at the break. Bring you up into the broadcast booth, everyone, with Renee Washington, Eddie Acapinti here with you. That was a great feature on Javi Losa and Raul Garcia. That brings us, Renee, back into our halftime. Scoreless, Monmouth down to 10 players. There were storylines before that, even more so now at halftime.
Yeah, just add on to the list of the many storylines we had coming in, because the intensity, the way that we've seen both teams having great opportunities, and just every player, especially when you look at Monmouth, rallying to try to see if they can get a result today.
Well, that's been the biggest key as we break down that first half. You know, the emotion was sky high at the very beginning, and then to watch the ebbs and flows of that emotion in the first half get us to the scoreless halftime. If you're Rob McCourt and Monmouth, you take that as a win getting ready for the second.
And now you have a chance during the break to talk things over, strategize how you're going to play the remainder of that game down a player, because the reality is you're thrown into it 25 minutes in when that red card happens. And so now they have an opportunity to also build the confidence. Listen, win the next 45 minutes, win your individual battles, and make sure you're doing all you can to leave it on the field.
We looked at those standings here in the first part of our halftime. We know what this game means to Monmouth. They don't play next week. The rest of the CAA North Division does. So this next 45 minutes, I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but we're going to overstate it. The most important 45 minutes of Monmouth's season.
And honestly, for some of their careers, especially you look at senior day, these are some of the players as they're at home, could be their final games, even in a Monmouth jersey. So not to be dramatic, to sprinkle onto all the drama we've already seen, they are literally playing to extend their career, their season, and knowing that you're going to still need some help, but it starts by taking care of business today.
Well, Hofstra, we know they're the top seed. You saw it on our graphic before that feature. The Pride know they're the #1 seed, but that hasn't really shown in this first half. I feel like they have played, and they're out shooting Monmouth 6-4. They've played as aggressive, if not at times more so, than this desperate Monmouth side.
Yeah, as you take a look at the stats, it's very, on paper, very even in terms of shots, 6-4. Shots on goal, 1-0 in favor of Hofstra. Monmouth even generating 3 corner kicks throughout the course of that half, the 2 corner kicks for Hofstra. But the fouls, that's an area I'd like to see for both teams that they can change. We know the intensity is going to be there, but you have to be more disciplined to minimize fouls, especially the location on the field of where those fouls happen. That could be a difference maker come the second half. But to your point, I do think Hofstra has some areas they need to fine-tune on their final third of how they're being a bit more clinical and creative.
And at a certain point, Renee, as we get ready for the start of the second half, I don't want to say which side has more pressure. I'm pretty well aware, as the listener, and you are as well, the viewer, that it's on Monmouth. But is it in the back of the mind of the team that's at full strength to, you know what, we want to go out there and get one and really seize control of this game? Any of that pressure could be on Hofstra as we are now underway in the second?
Well, at full strength on a 6-game winning streak as the #1 seed currently in the conference, then yes, I think that's what adds a little extra to that. But the reality is, the longer this game stays scoreless, because they are quote-unquote the favorite to win this, it does put a little extra motivation and confidence in Monmouth, knowing we're still hanging in this game, we're still in this, but you do have to imagine who can strike first and how that will change drastically the momentum of this game.
And a great point that you bring up. Yes, Monmouth needs this game for its postseason life, but there is a good amount of pressure on Hofstra right now. They carry in the nation's longest winning streak, along with the Stanford Cardinal at 6 matches. And they want to keep playing their best soccer of the season, as now Monmouth down to 10 players, defending against a Hofstra team that, as that second half was winding down, I feel like every time we looked up, Hofstra had possession. Hofstra was having a corner kick. Hofstra was very aggressive, and it continues here to begin the second.
And I've been on a team that also had the nation's longest winning streak at a point during my college career. It does add a little extra pressure. Everyone's gunning to be the ones to end that streak, to give you that first loss to break it. So for Hofstra, with the postseason coming up, with the conference standings, that's just so many things that all adds up to more pressure. But this is a good chance for them as they get this corner kick in the early going of the second half to take some of that pressure off and see what they can create.
Corner kick, far post. Going to be tracked down by the captain, Owen Barnett. See how aggressive Monmouth looks to be as we begin our second. Garcia giving chase there, as it'll be a goal kick for Johnson. You know, that feature that we mentioned as we came back on air for this second half with Raul Garcia and Javi Losa. Pretty cool. Those are the 2 players on Monmouth's roster from Spain. You know, Renee, it's pretty cool. And Monmouth's last game, tough one at home against St. John's. You know, we're doing the broadcast here tonight, but Monmouth had 2 broadcasts in that game. They had an English broadcast, and it was their first ever Spanish broadcast in that game. Their matchup with the Red Storm, pretty cool.
I love when we get those opportunities It's more access, it's more reach, it's being able to tap into a whole different audience. It's inclusive as well, and just something so special. We're seeing more and more of broadcast having an alternate option in a different language. Why not? You've got people watching from all over the world as these players represent so many different parts and communities. Why not give them something that they can watch that's in their language, in terms of Spanish specifically?
No, it's pretty cool. You know, in this broadcast, depending on where you're watching it, it's on linear television here in the Northeast, but it's also online, like Renee said, all over the world. So pretty cool, the reach of CAA Soccer, this Monmouth Digital Network team taking that initiative. Very, very cool.
Just more ways to welcome people into all of the excitement we've been watching, especially when you have games like this.
Run down that left side. That was a great cutback by Friedman. Hofstra able to defend it, but we see Monmouth get an early chance here in the second. That's paramount for this Monmouth team. The better chances they can generate earlier in this half would be so important, and maybe an opportunity here after the Hofstra foul. And you can see Francoux pleading his case, but the whistle going against the Pride.
They actually called that as a handball. It was very delayed, though, when you look at it. And immediately Monmouth was putting their hand up, pleading for this to be a handball. You see there, it looks like it is around his shoulder area, but I don't know. As I watch it again in slow motion, with us getting the benefit of a replay, I think the officials did get this one correct.
Each play magnified. Punched away by Cervoni. The magnitude of this one so important for Monmouth. Hofstra looking to this point every bit like the best team in the CAA's North Division, however.
That's the thing for Hofstra. You just have to keep your composure. You know teams are gunning for you, and that the pressure is on with this winning streak, with this top spot. But you have to make sure you're just taking it one play at a time, not rushing it, not forcing it, and allowing your game to just develop and unfold the way that it has been the last games.
Johnson goes off of his outstretched arm. It'll be another corner for Hofstra. And Johnson was just brilliant in that first half.
And unfortunate on this one, as this ball served across, we hear some Monmouth players telling Herman Johnson to leave it as it was going out of bounds. Typically, if a goalie feels like they have to make the save, you want them to trust their gut and not hesitate, go out and make that save. But now looking back, he could have left it to go out of bounds for a goal kick.
Yeah, his instincts were just so right in that first half, right? He's erring on the side of aggression. The whistle here will go against Hofstra. And playing down a player, I'm sure the Monmouth coaching staff won't be mad with Herman Johnson being as aggressive as he was in that first 45 minutes.
Absolutely. This is a great time for the Hawks. You've got, you know, one half to play. There's no excuses at this point. You do have some control over your destiny in terms of at least having a chance to win to keep yourself moving up the table. You have to put aside all the other aspects of the red card and everything else and just focus on what you can control.
Now Monmouth trying to plead its case for a corner. It'll be a throw-in. That was Jan Jevits, player from Hofstra, with good hustle, making sure that wasn't a corner. Thrown in by Monmouth junior Ian Burnett. Cleared away. And who's the first to get it? It's Monmouth's Cam Lawrence. Lawrence will draw the foul. Or no, Monmouth, excuse me, will be the guilty team with 38:08 to go in the second. We've gotten a first look at the faces that Sam Francoux makes when he pleads his case. They're great.
They really are. You just have to be careful because sometimes in these games you're too busy arguing the call and the play is going on. It's just taking you out of your game. Have to stay focused on the next play instead of the calls that the officials have made.
One of the first true shots we've seen in the run of play from Hofstra in a while, and that one will be high of the target.
We've seen the Pride attacking more through their flank services, crossing in the box that Herman Johnson and the back line of Monmouth have cleared out. Not a lot of shots in the run of play, to your point.
As Rob McCourt looks on in his 22nd season at Monmouth. Lawrence clearing it away. Friedman trying to find it, and he does. Friedman gonna lay it off for Osiecki.
I think I'd like to see Friedman take that chance, have the confidence. You're making a nice run off the ball. Knock that one home. You don't want to overpossess and trying to have the pretty goal or the pretty chance. We are still waiting to see that first shot on goal for the Hawks. Let one rip.
You haven't mentioned Gino Cervoni's name a whole lot in this match.
That's not a good thing offensively for Monmouth. We've seen and mentioned a lot of Herman Johnson on the reverse, so definitely need to now see if they can take it to that next gear of being more selfish at times to take the shot yourself and instead of electing the pass.
Trading possession. Lawrence goes high for it. And ultimately going to be controlled by the Pride. Here is Burko. And we talk a lot about Laurie Goddard and those league-leading 9 goals. Burko has 8 of his own, and a player that you have to account for defensively. As we will stop the clock with 35:27 remaining.
Well, as this one stops, I know for Stefano Campisi and for Hofstra, just a little bit frustrated as to when this stopped. As they were on the attack, Campisi was fully racing forward. But
issue with a wrong ball put in play, the topic of that conversation.
Well, we've seen a little bit of everything today. Why not add that to the list?
In what was just a first half that for a long time was just no rhythm. Feeling like there were stoppages due to fouls. We got that, so not sure what we're gonna exactly get fully. As the rebound chance was the best for Hofstra we've seen all match. And the Pride were that close from taking what would be a devastating lead over Monmouth 10 minutes into the second. Hofstra looking to regain that momentum it ended the first half with. Francouz service, and that was a really good ball played forward.
When you look at this play again that we saw previously, a great curling ball in towards a goal by Barnett, and then near rebound, almost toe poked home. Hofstra was just lurking around the goal, finishing their run. That first one played in, had a nice amount of pace on it and curl on it that more difficult than it looks for a goalkeeper to handle.
And with Hofstra at full strength, you know, I'm actually kind of curious that the strategy hasn't been, like you said earlier, just start throwing everything at Johnson. Ultimately, it'll be a numbers game, and maybe you get a second chance or a rebound. But to this point, Monmouth has defended admirably with just 10 players.
Yeah, it's tough because you do have to play with a bit of patience and composure, but you still have to play urgent because the longer this game stays 0-0, it does leave you more susceptible to that one fluke chance going in your opponent's favor. So Hofstra has to have that balance where you don't want to rush it and force it, but you want to be a little bit more aggressive.
You're starting to see those direct balls forward that Johnson, to this point, has shown he's adept at handling.
That's something I anticipate the Pride need to figure out a way to tweak. Obviously, their wide services are a big part of their attack, but Herman Johnson is all over it. Have to find a way to unbalance Monmouth a bit more and be even more unpredictable as well.
Touched by Cervoni, and a chance for Monmouth, and maybe their best chance with what was Friedman there. Couldn't believe it. He and DeCapua were there, and almost a huge mistake for Hofstra.
You definitely see the frustration there by Friedman. It's the first time he really talked about anything threatening forward for Monmouth. Gino Cervoni immediately makes the save to clean that one up, but Monmouth that's a great chance they had there.
And then just that quickly, Hofstra able to transition into another corner opportunity. Man, I don't know if chances like that come again.
Both teams have now had a chance that you look back on and wish you had an opportunity to do again.
Campisi to take it for the Pride. Far post, punched away. Hempelman Perez, one touch Barnett. Francouz. And it'll be a throw in for Hofstra.
Well, based off how things have been recently, it feels like we're getting closer to that goal because both teams have each had great opportunities. That slight miscommunication or hesitation has been the difference in finishing, but not from lack of trying.
Armis re-enters. He did start the first half. Re-enter for the long throw-in. Another corner coming for Hofstra as we near the 31-minute mark in the second half. Haven't really mentioned Laurie Goddard's name in quite a while for Hofstra, the leading scorer in the league. Low service, deflected. Play it back out wide to Campisi with that left foot. Hofstra finds its goal. Pinpoint delivery. And a goal, the first of the season for Gabriel Pacheco.
Come on, boys! Come on! Come on, boys! Boys, come on, keep going!
After defending down a man from about the midway point of the first half to now, the dam does break for Monmouth, and it's the first goal of the season for the senior from Curitiba, Brazil, Gabriel Pacheco.
Well, Hofstra gets their fourth corner of this half. It's been flank services. That one comes now in the run of play off of the initial corner as they were able to recycle. Great ball driven across the box. It had, as you look, Herman Johnson frozen on his line. Now, as we know, typically he's been coming off his line punching it, and that gives enough space for Gabriel Pacheco to get his first of the season. That is a very timely goal for Hofstra because, as we keep talking about, it felt like we were getting closer and closer to that goal breaking through on either side.
That delivery from Stefano Campisi couldn't have done it better. His team leading 6th assist of the year. See what that does now to the rhythm and flow of this second half with 30 minutes remaining, and the #1 team in the CAA North, Hofstra, leading 1-0.
They needed for Hofstra, they needed to do something different, and that time it was a deeper service that froze the back line of Monmouth, placed perfectly in between the Hawks' backs and Herman Johnson, which is a great service for Campisi to just drop it in and allow your teammates to go to work. Numbers in the box. And you do have to wonder, though, how deflating that can be for Monmouth. There's still a lot of time left. That does drastically change this game.
Monmouth's final regular season game with the rest of the league playing next weekend. Monmouth's final chance to bank some points, but now find themselves trailing the #1 team in the league, 1-0. And it wasn't Goddard or Burko or one of the leading attack players for Hofstra. But indeed, one of their stalwart defenders, Pacheco.
Well, ironically, as you were mentioning just prior to that goal that we haven't talked much about, Laurie Goddard for Hofstra, I was going to mention, but was waiting until the play stopped regarding this is where you need other players to step up. And before I could even say the words, it is one of their defenders, an outside back, that's able to help them get on the board. That's the makings of a strong team, when even when your leading scorer is not finding the back of the net, you have others that can still contribute as well.
And now that possession coming more fast and furious, more chances, and now Hofstra takes command. The second goal of the game, it is Goddard, his 10th of the season.
With how much Monmouth has been holding strong, we wondered if a goal would open things up for Hofstra offensively. And that it has done.
Well, at halftime, we even said to each other, as we take another look at the replay, what a goal would do in this matchup. The first one gave Hofstra a sense of relief. The second one gives them a complete sense of control here in the second.
Well, this one's similar to the first, with a beautiful ball played across by Pablo Heppelman-Perez. Able to put it in a position right across the 6. You've got blue jerseys in there. You again, much like the first goal, freeze Herman Johnson on his line, and then you just allow your playmakers in the air to go to work. So both goals very similar, both from that left side, driven into a position that Hofstra executed perfectly on to be able to finish.
So a scoreless first half has gave way to 2 Hofstra goals scored just minutes apart in the second for a 2-0 Pride lead.
How about that ability to go from scoreless to 2 goals within a matter of about 2 minutes? We've talked about how dangerous this Pride offense can be, and now that they've opened up the floodgates with that second goal, you wonder if they're done yet.
And we're not done in looking beyond this game, but we talked about it a few times, and you saw it at halftime, the standings in the CAA North. We know this Hofstra team, who's in complete control now, they're the #1 seed. Beyond that, there's a lot of uncertainty in the CAA. Top 3 teams in each division will make the postseason. That deflected shot leads to this another chance.
Yeah, the reality is a loss does not automatically eliminate Monmouth, but it does make their chances much slimmer and needing a lot of help from across the conference.
That was a well-struck ball from Heppelman-Perez just over the crossbar. Yeah, coming into play tonight, Monmouth is 3rd among the 5 teams in the CAA North with 9 points. The teams behind them, Drexel and Northeastern, here's the good news for Monmouth. They don't play each other in the last week of the regular season. They play other teams in the North. Northeastern plays Hofstra, Drexel will play Stony Brook. So, I mean, if you're Monmouth, you have to do a lot of scoreboard watching next week. Excuse me, Drexel plays Hofstra. So Renee's spot on. A loss doesn't end Monmouth's season, but if you're looking at percentages, it goes way down for a chance to make the playoffs. Really hard to come back from a 2-0 deficit, even made more difficult when you're doing it down a player, which Monmouth has played with since about the 20-minute mark in the first half.
That's the key. They've been rallying since they had that red card happen in the 25th minute. But I'm not sure if you can rally with a 2-goal deficit and still a player down, but anything is possible. I'll never say never.
Hofstra just comfortable possessing with this 2-0 advantage. When we talked to Rob McCourt before the game, he mentioned his team and some of the injury adversity that they've had. It's one of the reasons why they haven't really gone to their reserves in this game. It's been this lineup, for the most part, that's had to go the whole way. Defended so much in the first half. And will now try to turn around what is a pretty big deficit. Templeman Perez, left-footed service, no one on the other end.
That is tough when your team is pretty banged up, because now you're needing players that may typically be reserves to now be in a starting role. That's bigger minutes, that's a bigger role on the field, and just more you're asking for them to do, on top of the blend of having a lot of freshmen and younger players already stepping up tremendously. So it's definitely something that's, you know, you can look at as a clear reason why this team might be just shy of reaching some of their goals this season. But encouraging nonetheless, and seeing how some players, especially the younger ones, have been able to step up for this Monmouth team.
Yeah, it's really a contrast between each team's starting 11. More underclassmen and freshmen than I can remember in the last couple of years, really for any team. For Monmouth, while Hofstra, very veteran, seniors, graduate students, and players that are used to winning championships, which they've won 4 of in this league.
And I've been a part of that, and when you used to have the hungry freshmen, but you also have those seasoned veterans with that championship pedigree that know what it takes, especially in this stretch of the season, to make sure you're physically and mentally sharp every time you step between the lines. And honestly, it felt like it was a matter of time with how that first half ended that Hofstra was going to be able to break through, because it felt like Monmouth was just holding on with everything they had down a player.
Out of that back line, here comes Cam Lawrence. Yeah, you could just feel that pressure mount as that first half was winding down. And then this second half started. I mean, Hofstra was exactly where they were at the end of that half and just continued to play aggressively. And they were rewarded for that with the 2 goals just a few minutes apart.
And it's a good response for the Pride. We saw them have a near chance off of a rebound, give up a tough chance, and then come back and score 2 goals. That's the type of response you want when you have a couple of plays that don't go your way, to make sure the next one you take advantage of.
Yeah, offside flag up after that, right before the touch from DeCapua. And going into the last week of the CAA regular season, afternoon matchup on Long Island between Northeastern and Stony Brook. Stony Brook right now in second in the North with 10 points. And then Drexel will visit first place Hofstra. Monmouth not on there. They're off next week and needing a lot of help to try to squeeze into that top 3 in the CAA North.
So you're needing a loss, or at the very best, maybe even a tie. You can actually get away with Drexel and Northeastern both tying their respective games, or either of them, I should say, tying their games next week, and Monmouth would still be fine. But the unfortunate part as a player is you hate to have to rely on other people and not be able to control your own destiny.
Yeah, it's just, it's hard, right? And you know, how different is the mental side of things, Renee, when you go into a game knowing if we take care of business, it might not be enough, not having your own destiny in your hands.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I mean, the very important part of that is it starts by you taking care of business. Them winning this game really would put them locked into being a top 3 team. And so you know you have the opportunity. You've got to be ready to deliver on it.
A foul here. Kind of an unnecessary one by Goddard. 20 minutes remaining in the second. And at this point, really, for Monmouth, they almost need to just see a few chances, right? They need to just know they can create some opportunities here.
That is key. I mean, we still have not seen a shot on goal for Monmouth And there's less than 20 minutes remaining in this game. We haven't seen Gino Cervoni have to make a true save yet. They've had some miscommunications and errors around the goal, but you've got to get at least a shot on goal and start with that and kind of go from there.
Lawrence just has to play it back to Johnson. That's the goal scorer, Pacheco. There's Anborn. It stays in. Quick transition the other way. Armas put out of play. That's good cover from Damian Tarasca.
This is the other reality of this game. Monmouth's defense has had to do so much throughout this, especially because their offense hasn't been able to create on the other end or sustain possession in their attacking third. We've seen this back line, whether it's Herman Johnson and net or their backs, having to do so much to just lay out and do everything they can to keep Hofstra from scoring.
You know, they've had to do so much work on this end of the field.
This is where if you're Hofstra, you have that insurance goal that you're able to get from Goddard. Good amount of time left. Just manage the game. You want to keep your team healthy. Make sure you're going into the final week of the regular season in their game next week as close to 100% as possible.
As things open up, the Pride look for more, and chance there for Burko. Bit of a mishit. Johnson goal kick coming with Hofstra leading 2-0. Well, that's not a miscommunication there. No, Northeastern's here twice. It's just two different sports. Big matchup tomorrow. Northeastern and Monmouth in the final day of the regular season for CAA women's soccer. And then the number 11 team in the country, Monmouth's field hockey team, will host the Huskies on Halloween. Coming up on Friday.
And to your point, no, it's not just spooky season. It is a Northeastern matchup for both teams. I'm sure the men's soccer team wants to say, hey, remind your men's team to lose next week as well while you're at it.
Final day of the women's soccer regular season tomorrow. Monmouth with a chance at the number 1 seed on the women's side. And the importance of that field hockey game is huge. If Monmouth is able to win, they'll outright win the CAA championship in the regular season, host the tournament. And if Northeastern wins, they'll share the championship with Monmouth. But what a season for Carly Figlio's Monmouth field hockey team. And a recent run of success that is remarkable, as the performance of Hofstra can be described that way as well. Campisi's goal, 3-0 Pride. They can sense that 7th win in a row.
Stefano Campisi got the assist on the opening goal and now gets the goal of his own. That one just about as easy as of a chance as you could ask for an attacker. As we take a look back at this goal, the assist off the foot of Daniel Burko, slots it across to Campisi and then just able to draw Herman Johnson off his line. You look here, stays on side, great timed runs. Just splits the back line of Monmouth for Campisi to be found wide open and slots it home. Just like that, this game that was scoreless at the half, Eddie, we're looking at a 3-0 score line.
Yeah, the goals have come in a hurry for Hofstra after what was a valiant effort for Monmouth defensively in that first half. You've just seen the class of the Pride. That goal for Campisi, by the way, is first of the season. He's normally on the other end of those in feeding his teammates like you saw earlier. But Monmouth playing down a player since the 20th minute in that first half. It's been a tough second half for a team that was playing and is still playing for its postseason life, and now seems with 15.5 minutes to go, resigned to scoreboard watching next week.
Well, the tough thing for Monmouth, and you can argue any of the goals were deflating, but that second goal for Hofstra to score just 2 minutes after the first goal and take this game that was very close back and forth and open it wide up with Goddard's goal, that absolutely took the wind out of the sail of Monmouth. Such a tall task to come back down, a player down and now down 2 goals. And so got to give credit to Hofstra for not only scoring once, but putting this game away with a second and third insurance goal.
And with that, a bunch of new Hofstra players entering the game. Campisi's night appears done, and a quality shift for the graduate student from Milan, Italy.
That's the beauty when you get those insurance goals. If this was still a 1-0 game, you'd see a lot more fight from Monmouth. You'd see a lot of players still on the pitch. The intensity probably would continue to escalate, but instead this now makes this a very lopsided game in favor of Hofstra. You can get other players in, rest guys. And as I mentioned earlier, just focus on making sure you're staying as healthy as possible for Hofstra to go into their final game of the regular season.
Definitely in the mind of associate head coach Stephen Roach, as Monmouth does get on the board. Oh, and they convert the turnover into a goal. Patrick Osiecki gets Monmouth on the board. And they're saying, not quite yet.
Patrick Osiecki's second goal of this season brings some life back to Monmouth as they're down 3-0, able to take advantage of this turnover, slots it past Gino Cervoni, and brings some life that he sparks back into the Hawks. We've seen everything in this game so far. There's still 13 minutes remaining. That is absolutely, I'm sure, a boost of much needed energy for Monmouth to get on the scoreboard.
Well, you start spinning this forward and you can play the game of, and I know there's 13.5 minutes to go, but if you say the next goal in this match, well, if Monmouth finds another one of those, things get very interesting and very tense potentially, but that quickly Hofstra was able to generate another corner. That goal from Osiecki is his second of the season and the 6th of his career. Punched away, but right into a Monmouth player. Another corner coming up.
We do see some talking back and forth between teams. This game not over yet, in the sense that with that goal, Monmouth, I'm sure, has to feel very much back in it.
You know, this service to that way far post. And there's Johnson. That's the Herman Johnson. And we saw a lot in that first half. And he'll move everyone forward as we take another look at the Monmouth goal.
Well, look again at this beautiful goal by Patrick Osiecki. You just get a great angle there of him able to tuck that one into that far post, inject some life back into Monmouth. And as you mentioned, Eddie, this makes things interesting. If Monmouth can get that next goal and bring this within 1, we've got a whole new ball game here.
Well, I'm all for some drama.
It is spooky season. Bring on the drama and the scaries.
And you nailed it, by the way. That goal did really inject some life into Monmouth, as Hofstra now looks to take it right back, and a good run there on the counter. But Johnson, that last line of defense, you know, the score line, whatever it ends up being, won't tell the complete story of how well Herman Johnson played.
Absolutely. When you look at the fact that Hofstra's had 15 shots, 5 of them on goal. You look at the services that don't get logged as a shot as well, or corner kicks, and just how much Herman Johnson's had to do. He's going to absolutely have earned himself a much needed, I'm sure, ice bath after this game. $11:20
and ticking. Game that was scoreless at halftime. I've seen 4 goals in about a 25-minute span in the second.
Anything can happen, especially in the CAA. Red cards, 4 goals within 25 minutes. We've seen so much going on. We're not done yet.
It's good service there from one of the reserves who came on, Caleb Williams. That was a long, long run. Who was that for Monmouth that was making that end-to-end run? That was Andrea Crochet. He might have ran 1,200 meters on that play. Just kind of did a full, couple laps, I feel like.
Well, as much as we talk about what Hofstra needs to do going into their final game of the regular season next week, this, as we keep saying, is Monmouth's final game of the regular season and could be their final game of the season overall. So to your point, no need to hold anything back, wait, go ahead and make those deep runs, see if you can get something going for your team. There's no reason to save it.
Foul here on Garcia, as they'll tend to Barnett. And while they do that, we want to remind you, our broadcast this evening brought to you in part by the McClune's family of restaurants, and they're proud to support Monmouth University athletics. Visit their 3 locations in nearby Pier Village, Long Branch, McClune's Pier House with spectacular ocean views in Asbury Park, as well as the Robinson Ale House Sports Bar. Don't forget the casual, price-friendly Kahuna Burger as well, all located near the beach down here on the Jersey Shore. Good to see Barnett up, the senior from Wellington, New Zealand. Williams lifting it. Sign of 10 minutes remaining in the second half. Barnett's shot is deflected. I think that went right. Was that Osiecki, the goal scorer? Indeed it was. Monmouth with the match's most recent goal. Here's Raul Garcia. Monmouth looking for a build-up here. Marco Pantano.
Body language of the Hawks has drastically changed, especially since that goal by Patrick Osiecki. Just see them battling, competing at a higher level. The urgency is there, Eddie.
I totally agree. That goal really changed just how Monmouth was just moving and just their own urgency. Oh, nicely done. Tackled by Armas. And then an open run, and we go the other way with Burko. Daniel Burko, 1v1. What a finish for the senior from Norway. Ninth goal of the season, tying. For a moment, his teammate, as now each of their leading scorers, Goddard and Burko, have tallied a goal.
Daniel Burko putting the final icing on the cake. It could be for Hofstra. Kicks this one home, then kicked the fence actually afterwards. In celebration, that's how you take away any momentum that that Monmouth was trying to generate. As one of their, as you mentioned, the Pride's leading scorers just does what your best players do. Has an answer to really stifle what Monmouth was building. Nicely done 1v1 there with just the footwork and poise to tuck that one away out of the reach of Herman Johnson.
Yeah, it's a tough celebration too, because I think that fence is like there's holes in it. So,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shocked that it's not a soft fence. It's a real fence.
Yeah, when he kicked the fence and the chain link gave the noise, I think we even looked at each other and said, "Oh, all right."
Hey, that's one way to do it. Hey, you score a goal, you knock it home, and he kind of hit the post part of it too, nonetheless. He might feel that one tomorrow.
Could see, though, the ease at which he put on that series of maneuvers and moves. And, well, we said it, the next goal would change how this feels one way or the other, and indeed it has, with Hofstra seizing control again, up 4-1.
Well, I remember at one point in the start of the second half mentioning how Hofstra needs to change up how they're attacking and just be a bit more dynamic and versatile. How about you get 2 goals off of services into the box? You get a nice 1v1 shifty goal there by Burko. Just different looks for every goal, different players involved. It just makes it so difficult to defend a team when they're running so much at you play after play, and it looks completely dynamic and unpredictable.
Monmouth playing with just 10 since the 20th minute of that first half. Kick save away. Crochet was bearing down on Cervoni in his best moment of the match.
Well, we mentioned before, Monmouth needs to test Cervoni, and we've actually seen that in addition to the goal by Osiecki. Another good opportunity for the Hawks.
There's Osiecki, scored Monmouth's first goal. Now a free run potentially for the Pride with numbers coming forward. Armas, extra, Caleb Williams. And a slew of Hofstra players will check in with under 6 minutes remaining. And that last goal, as you take a look at the all-time series, really looks to have put an end to this one, which coming into play tonight, Renee, Monmouth was looking for its 3rd straight win, weirdly enough, in the series against what is the 4-time defending CAA champions.
The Hawks have definitely had Hofstra's number, the matchup, just being able to figure out a way to beat them when a lot of teams, especially in the CAA alone, have not been able to do so. Hofstra not only getting revenge on the loss earlier this season, but reminding, I guess, Monmouth in this one, they're still the top team.
Because now you have to look ahead, right? We just have to what is the final week and decision day in the regular season next week. As Hofstra potentially looking for more. Johnson able to kick it away off the crossbar.
Herman Johnson.
And Monmouth's regular season ends tonight, but you said it. How about this effort? One more.
Wow. Herman Johnson able to hit enough on that. It hits the top of the crossbar and goes out of play. Literally been all over. And I think one thing we are seeing, Monmouth has been pushing a lot of numbers forward. They're getting caught in transition because they've been a little bit more aggressive attacking, but also as we're seeing players on the ground cramping, stretching, it's just fatigue kicking in. This is a group that's played, especially this back line, a player down since the 25-minute mark, giving up 4 goals in close succession, and it definitely seems that you can see the physical wear that's allowing Hofstra to break into a lot more 1v1, 2v1 situations towards goal.
And that is Cam Lawrence running off the field for Monmouth, one of their defenders who, like you said, I mean, if you have the fitness tracker on those players tonight, they're probably running upwards of 3 or 4 miles with how much ground they've had to cover with Monmouth playing with just 10.
And Cam Lawrence was stretching his leg out periodically throughout the second half. Seemed like he was not feeling, or was feeling something, I should say. So good to be able to, if your mom get a player like that off, make sure that there's nothing more serious in regards to just cramping, leg tightness, and the amount of miles, as you mentioned, that they've run.
Osiecki will exit. He scored the Monmouth goal. As now we will do what really everyone around the league is doing, right? Everyone is scoreboard watching. It's looking ahead. You saw the matchups that will be next weekend. on the other matchup, with the other ones played earlier today, the other matchup going on concurrently with ours was Campbell and Elon in the CAA South Division. And the Camels were leading 1-0, and they've added to that. I don't know how many teams have scored 2 goals on Elon this season and how great their defense and keeper Jackson Levitt has been. So that is a statement performance for a really solid Campbell team.
This is the time of year players are stepping up. You either step up or you're out, especially in this conference with only 3 teams from each division advancing. So you do see where teams, as they're facing each other for that second time in this season, are finding ways to get results.
We're gonna have to go into the record there, because I'm pretty sure Elon was allowing, and there you see that's the scheduling model for this year with the 2 divisions. Play each team in your division twice. It's why this matchup's happening again. Monmouth defeated Hofstra earlier on towards the latter part of September, setting up this matchup. Top 3 from each side advance. But I'm pretty sure Elon was allowing 0.36 goals a game. It was a number I had never seen in all the years broadcasting soccer. So the fact that Campbell could get 2 on that team means they very much have a chance in a couple of weeks, as these teams will meet for an eventual berth into the NCAA tournament, which the last 4 years has gone to Hofstra.
Well, this is also, and as we get deeper into October, time where injuries start to hit. You have, just that late game surge of endurance and things starting to click. So on one end, your team's getting better with each week, but there are some teams that might be dealing with injuries or other factors that are causing them to not be able to take those strides forward. So it honestly becomes like survival of the fittest. Who can be the healthiest and the strongest in this later stage of the season? I'm not saying Elon is not, but that sometimes also can be a difference maker in some of these results that you see.
Well, and sometimes, and it's weird, right? And with the division matchup, you're seeing a team at least in your division 2 times, maybe a third. Sometimes matchups just work out weird ways. You could have 2 teams that are incredibly successful in a given season, but they just don't match up well together. Maybe your strength doesn't match up well against another team's strength. It's the kind of game within a game that I always find so interesting, when you match up the actual players, not just the formations or what these teams do.
That's why it does make it difficult to be facing your division opponents twice each season, because if one of those opponents are a team you don't match up well with, that makes it even more difficult.
100 seconds remaining in what's been, at least in the second half, as thorough offensive performance from Hofstra as we've seen. Monmouth down to 10 men in that first half. Johnson got a hand on it, aided by the post as well. But a corner kick will come. And Hofstra now will just put an exclamation point on their nation-leading 7th straight win.
We've seen a crossbar, we've seen a post. That all came in the final minutes of this game. This game on paper, others may see 4-1, but we've seen a lot of chaos, excitement down to the final seconds, even a corner kick here.
Going to be headed out of play. So another goal kick for Herman Johnson with 40 seconds remaining. You saw the upcoming schedule. Key women's soccer matchup here at Hess Field tomorrow. Monmouth taking on Northeastern, and the women's team a chance to go get the #1 seed in the CAA's North Division. And then later on in the week, on Halloween, ultra important field hockey matchup between Monmouth and Northeastern as well, as the final few seconds will come off the clock. And what was a scoreless game at halftime turns into Hofstra's 7th win in a row. And the Pride take full advantage of Monmouth being down a player. They are victorious 4-1. the #1 team in the CAA North and the 4-time defending champions, answer the bell from their earlier loss when Monmouth got them 1-0 in September with a big win here in late October.
That is an impressive second half performance, especially for Hofstra after a scoreless first to put up 4 goals, 2 of those coming within 2 minutes. And just the amount of shots, corners, chances that they generated in the second half, very impressive to take this win, showing you why they're the top team in the CAA.
Take a look at your final game stats. And as we noted, those stats are a lot closer at halftime than they end up being for the full game. 4-1 Hofstra over Monmouth. Really take control, Renee, towards the latter stages of that first half, and then that carries over into what was a pretty dominant second half performance.
Yeah, they outshot them about 15-3 in that second half. The corner kicks heavily in their favor. They only had 2 corners the first half, ended up with 10. Hofstra on all angles of this game, shots on goal, corners, chances that they created, really dialed it up a notch in that second half. Monmouth had no answers. And that's how you got to this point.
What brings us to this point, the 7th win in a row for Hofstra. It's the top winning streak in the country. You know, Renee, we saw what was just a spirited game, especially in that first half. Monmouth defending with just 10 players. But in that second half, once the goals started coming for Hofstra, it was fast and furious, and you can just see why this team has won 4 championships in a row.
Well, the reality is Monmouth did a great job of player down, of hanging in there, rallying in that first half, but you wondered how long they could maintain that. And Hofstra just continued to get better as the game went on, generate even stronger opportunities, and eventually just wore on Monmouth that the Hawks had no answers for the Pride.
And it's a team in Hofstra that has been playing unbelievable soccer since the last time these two teams met. Monmouth was the last team to beat this Hofstra team. And they have a look, very much a look of a team that doesn't have a loss in its future anytime soon with the way that they're playing right now.
Absolutely. 7 straight games of winning. That's a remarkable way to respond. And Hofstra, a fantastic win tonight to add to that ledger.
And joining us, Coach Stephen Roach, going to join us here. Coach, what was an emotional first half turned into just a really impressive display for your team in the second half. 7 wins in a row now. Your thoughts immediately after this emotional win for the Pride?
Yeah, thank you, guys. It's a great win. It's a really difficult win. Again, anytime we play Monmouth, it's a really difficult game. Obviously, the red card has a huge influence on the game, and even then, it was very, very difficult to break them down. Once we did, I think the game obviously changed, but credit to Monmouth. With 11 men, with 10 men, they were very, very good. Our guys got clinical towards the end.
And, Coach, what changed offensively to allow that second half to open up? Those first 2 goals just about 2 minutes apart. What did you guys talk about at the break that you saw execute well in that second half?
Yeah, it was just, patience. The chances would come. We were able to throw on an extra attacker, which was nice, and load of balls in the box. Eventually, one bounced our way, and then the floodgates kind of opened up. But again, full credit to Monmouth. They defended like warriors for the whole game. Our guys, like I said, got clinical there towards the end. So again, brilliant away win in CAA conference play. It's always so difficult.
Well, Coach, regular season wins are great. We know this Hofstra program has their eye on the bigger picture, as you always do. What you take out of this performance going into the final regular season matchup next week before the postseason, which has proven to have been Hofstra's time the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've won 4 in a row, and I keep saying the same thing, but every single one of those years incredibly difficult. 23 was against Monmouth here. It's one game at a time. Next week against Drexel's another very, very difficult game. We're not going to look beyond that. Our guys will be able to get a bit of rest this week, but it's one game at a time. We hope the national tournament's in our future, but CAA play is always our focus. Winning the CAA is goal number 1.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on this win.
Thank you so much, guys.
That is Stephen Roach joining us. Renee, I'll give you the final word as we take a look at the CAA North up to the minute. CAA North, Hofstra with already been decided, the top seed getting ready for the conference tournament.
Yeah, Hofstra sitting with the dominant 18 points. Everybody else just jostling for second, and Monmouth, unfortunately, unable to retake that second spot, but still in that top 3 despite the loss. This is just how close the CAA North is, where it's a matter of one mistake here or there that can be the difference to get the win versus walking away with a loss.
The thing on that graphic that also tells the full story. Monmouth season potentially isn't over. If the results break their way next week when they have to scoreboard watch on decision day, they'll have a chance to play. But like we talked about in the broadcast, you'd want to have that in your own hands as now they leave their fate to others.
Sitting with 12 points after tonight would have been perfect for Monmouth to be able to feel better about going into that final week, especially since they have a bye next week. But the reality is, as you mentioned, they do need some help. It's not over yet, and you wonder how they can respond if they're able to get a postseason spot.
And they'll be wanting just that. They'll be watching those games next week, like the rest of us, with a lot of interest, as we will say goodnight from West Long Branch. For our entire crew, our producer Andrew Kurtz, my broadcast partner Renee Washington, I'm Eddie Acapinti, saying so long. We remind you that Flow Sports is your home for live and on-demand CAA sports coverage all season long. Visit flowsports.tv/CAA for more information. This has been a presentation of the Monmouth Digital Network. The 7th win in a row for Hofstra. Impressive over Monmouth.